Hey Libra, we're doing just a general reading for you, timeless. So whenever you see it is when it should resonate with you. And if you're interested at all in a personal reading, there's information on how to get a hold of me in the description box below. It is $15 for a 25-30 minute reading or $20 for a 35-40 minute, I believe, if I remember correctly. Check whatever is in the description box below. It's something like that. And on that note, got the Eight of Pentacles, got the Page of Pentacles. A lot of Pentacles in the last reading I did for Virgo. And, you know, obviously the page or the 8 is about getting down to work and kind of ignoring distraction, I guess, is the way of putting it. Not allowing yourself being distracted and recognizing what it is that's going to pay off for you if you put your energy towards the appropriate thing of where it's going to take you long term. Because this is somebody who's not seeing the rewards of what they're doing right away. It's not the Seven of Pentacles is that energy where it's somebody has already put in, which is ironic considering it's 7 and 8, but the 7 is about appreciating the fruits of labor. And it's about you've done the work and you're seeing the payoff. But the 8 is about doing the work. The 8 is somebody who is not allowing themselves to give in to short-term pleasure in lieu of what they recognize needs to be done. And the page here at the bottom of the deck suggests to me that there will be a reward. There will be an offer made in return for the work that you're putting in now. This, to me, the 7 of Swords is representing the opposite energy of that, where it's somebody who's not who's trying to get away with something, you know, trying to take the easy road, and it's the dishonest road, and it is the deceptive road. And they're imagining that since nobody sees them, there will not be consequences toward the course of action they're taking. Curious to see why that would come up right after the 8. Give me just a sec. Let's see if we can get a little more insight to the... Why would the 7 of Swords come up here? Page of Wands. Or Knight of Wands, excuse me. Let's say just from immaturity and just passion. Immature passion would lead you to abandon proper principle and doing what you need to do. The thing from doing what you do if you wanted to stick to the path that ensured long-term success, but the short-term pleasure that catches your eye and your immaturity to deal with that, to address it and relate to it in a proper, helpful, mature way is the thing that would have you take this path of the 7 of Swords. which I'll reiterate something that I said in the Virgo reading, that there's something important that happens just through self, like that there is a deeper part of yourself that recognizes when you're doing the right thing, and you know that you're doing the right thing, and it recognizes that, and it offers its own reward just through observing that you've done the right thing, in addition to, like, I used in that not the observation, the hypothetical situation that you ate a Big Mac or something versus something healthy. It's like, even aside from the benefits of, obviously there are the inherent benefits of eating something healthy and the inherent drawbacks of eating something unhealthy. But in addition to that, there's the psychological benefit of knowing that you're doing the good thing for yourself and setting yourself up for long-term success that offers its own rewards. And the thing, before you even digest the Big Mac or whatever unhealthy thing and feel the effects of that, there is its own psychological drawback from just knowing that you've made the choice to do the unskillful, unhelpful, self-sabotaging and undermining thing. So I feel like you want to avoid acting rashly. I feel like, particularly since it's these two nights, as opposed to this Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is a little slower moving, and these are two of the faster nights. They're the two fastest nights in the deck, and particularly the Knight of Swords is rash and unpredictable and impulsive in its action. It's like when the mind becomes agitated and you feel like you have to act and you do something stupid in like just in the spur of the moment. Is very much the energy of the Knight of Swords. I was pointing out in a reading yesterday about the Knight of Swords compared to the rest of the Swords royalty, because Swords is air energy and mental energy, which you should be able to relate to as a Libra. And the clouds in the background of those cards and in the court cards of the Sword suit are very telling, because the Knight is very distinct. He's just distinct among the court cards in general. But the clouds in the background, clouds often represent thoughts, right? So many meditations there are many Buddhist meditations that are like, mind like sky. And thoughts are the clouds that go through, and you observe them as passing clouds, not as something to identify yourself with. And unlike the other court cards, which are mostly fluffy, and particularly in the Queen and the King's case, are below their heads. But these are all up above him or around him. They're all elevated and jagged in a way that theirs are kind of fluffy and soft. They seem like billowy clouds, and this seems sharp almost. So these are it's like harsh, agitated thinking. And then he's just acting based on that. He's charging ahead and probably doing something stupid. Also, I want to point out that all of these cards are going the other direction from the Eight of Pentacles, who is facing toward the right. All of the other ones are moving toward the left. And they're suggesting stupid short-term decision-making, basically. But the Magician suggests that Well, he suggests that you basically have your choice to make between the two, because you can manifest what you want, and your actions are the spell cast by the magician, right? That if you decide to show no wisdom and restraint, the creation that manifests in your reality is going to be reflective of that. And if you show wisdom in what you give your time to, and you make the short-term sacrifice of work that needs done, again, you'll see reflections of that. And I think you'll see reflections of that beyond what are the practical and obvious outcomes based on it, if that makes sense to you. That there are metaphysical ramifications and connections in what you perceive outwardly, and those things will relate. You'll receive benefits that are not the obvious benefits that you would think of for making the choices that you make, right? I hope that makes sense. So we got another page now. The page of wands here. So I think you need to reflect. I think you need to think long and hard about the decisions that you're making. I think it's saying to slow down if you can, when you feel like particularly if you observe yourself entering in kind of a reactive mode, to, if you can, just kind of take a step back and observe your mind, observe your thought processes, and kind of just try to calm yourself down. Try to pull back out of this reactive night energy where you're just wanting to charge ahead carelessly. Because that's the thing that's going to bring balance to you and make you feel I think supported. It's going to bring you a new start. It's going to make you feel supported, and maybe bring in partners, make you feel like you're being watched over, and that the people coming into your life and who are in your life are there for a reason. And again, like I was saying about the metaphysical ramifications of the choices that you're making, I think you're going to see that playing out in your relationships, because you see this angelic heavenly being here overlooking these two and how they've come together and to be in each other's lives. I'm going to leave that out there. I'm going to wrap these other cards back in the deck and see if we can get a little more insight into the lovers here before we close out the reading. Get a little insight to the lovers card here. Oh, geez. Just lost a bunch. I'm going to throw those two out there because they flipped over upright. And they're very appropriate for what the lovers is. because I think that it's again driving that point home and saying that that your relationships and the people you interact with are going to be affected in a non-obvious way by the decisions that you're making in seemingly unrelated territories, right? That regarding situations, it might be just that you've chosen to not distract, that you've chosen not to look at your phone, right? That you've chosen not to stare at your phone all day. If you look at your phone for 6 hours a day and you decide, I'm going to rein that back in and I am allowed to look at my phone for an hour, that doesn't have any obvious bearing on the way people will respond to you, right? In your life, that people that you meet in your life, it may not be obvious that there would be a corresponding change in those two departments. But what I'm getting from this is that if you're making a choice like that and you make the proper choice, that people will respond to you differently and they're going to offer you more support and more emotional, you'll receive more emotional nourishment from the people that you interact with, and possibly new offers of love. Almost certainly offers of love, because what are the chances that in asking for clarification that the Page of Cups is totally an offer of love or at least emotional support. And the Two of Cups is like the minor arcana version of the Lovers. So to have that come out as the supporting cast to this is saying, shit, sorry that these are so, I haven't looked at the screen for a minute, but so you can see better about what I'm seeing is, let me just get all of that out of the way. This is very much the minor arcana version of this. So I feel like if you're making short-term sacrifices and making sound decisions and using sound judgment in the decisions that you're making, then you could definitely draw in a powerful, passionate relationship that is divinely guided and supportive of you, and allows, it's the kind of relationship that can mature, that there will be levels to it, that it's not some relationships stunt, that you get in them and your partner, the relationship, the energy of the relationship will either cause you to devolve, or at the very least, when you try to evolve, it will be like butting your head against a wall because you've got this anchor and it's like you can only go so far, and then they will not let you progress past that until you decide to end the relationship because they're determined not to change. And the way your energies interact will keep you from being able to move forward. Again, I hope that makes sense. But all of these cards out here to me suggest, let's look at them this way, right? From in this order of the Page of Cups, the Two of Cups, and the Lovers. You've got this initial offer of emotional connection, right? And love. Then you have the two coming together, the actual coming together of two equals. And there's the hint of the divine having a hand in this, being at play. And in the lovers, you see these two figures with no airs. They're naked with one another. It's clear to them that they've been brought together for a purpose. And they can be who they are with one another and feel supported. They don't have to put on a show or if you want to look at it from just the clothing nudity thing, they don't have to get gussied up to have their value seen by this other person. They certainly don't have to tell lies about who they are or their intentions or what they want or anything to understand that they'll be supported and accepted. And on that, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope that this resonates with you, Libra, because it took a real turn at the end. And, it's just really good stuff. So, take care.